Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, fellow Toastmasters and dear guests connecting from the globe. Welcome to the Leadership Speak meeting number 54 and happy anniversary to the club Leadership Speak for completing one successful year. Let's give a big round of applause.
Woo, woo.
Yes, that shout out is also required. So I'm Lokesh Verma. I am your Sergeant at Arm today and also a Zoom master for today's meeting. Let me share the club mission with you. We provide a supportive and positive learning experience in which members are empowered to develop communication and leadership skills, resulting in greater self-confidence and personal growth. Let me also share Leadership Speak statement. Leadership Speak is the premier club for experienced Toastmasters to become better self-directed leaders. We are an advanced club focused primarily on leadership development in everything we do. You can see our timer has virtual hand raised, so we all can immediately see who is keeping the time. I shall also be spotlighting the timer and other role players whenever required. Without further ado, let me invite the Toastmaster of the day who will be leading our meeting is DTM Brahm Memone. Brahm Memone's primarily passion is leadership and technology. His foundational purpose is to transform the world from a value extraction dependency to value generating interdependency, transforming the very nature of how we think of leadership. Leadership Speak is a project where the incubation of leadership occurs to create new ways to lead, serve, and generate value using technology. He's a trainer and a coach with large organizational experience and a background in his previous life as a chartered accountant. Please welcome the co-founder and president, Brahm Memone, presiding as the Toastmaster of the day.
Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, good day to everyone, wherever you are. Thank you so much for being here. We are just waiting for our guests to arrive as we begin our meeting. We don't know how many people will be here today in this meeting, whether there'll be over 100, less than 100. We have no idea. We invited so many people all over the globe because we are an international club. Now, as you may have heard, this meeting is meeting number 54, but we've been celebrating our first anniversary today. Exactly a year ago, February the 17th, we were handed our charter, club charter. Our club launch was on February the 5th, and within a week, we had the 20 members, which we submitted to Toastmaster International. We will ask the Sergeant at Arms to mute everyone.
Done.
Thank you. And thank you very much for muting yourselves and Sergeant at Arms, Zoom Master. And then our charter was, of course, on February the 17th. The actual paper arrived on February the 17th. So today is February the 18th, 366 days since the charter certificate arrived. We have a lot of charter members that are still members. Some, excuse me. Well, I'm not choking up because we are 1 year old. I think I'm just choking up because it's early morning here, perhaps. So we have about 11 charter members, still members, as we all know, at least from my experience, that charter members join and then they leave for some other reason. Things change in their lives and they move on. But we have 11 members still who are charter members still in the club. So thank you all for coming here. Today's theme, as you can see, it's right above my head, Connect the Leadership Challenge. I want to welcome all the guests here today. Currently, we are at 65. I have no idea how many we will end up with in the next few minutes, or whether we will remain around 70, which was my projection. I want to thank a lot of people who actually went out of the way to invite people from all over the globe as well. We created Leadership Speak at the peak of the pandemic last year. And I wanted to create a club, an advanced club that was focused on leadership development. The challenge was, of course, how do you make a club successful? How do you get people engaged during a pandemic? And we had to really think through starting an advanced club, because now we were restricting who could really be part of our membership. Our members are people who have actually a legacy DTM or a level 3 in pathways. That's who our members are. So our scope of members is limited, and we want to get engagement high. Despite that, today we have 33 members. That's cause for celebration for a club like us. My co-founder is here today, Brent Pattison, and he will speak more about our club. But we had to solve our problem of how to get people engaged. And so what we did was we used, let's bring leadership skills to the foreground and use technology to get people engaged in the club. And we managed to do that. There's good engagement in the club. People turn up for their roles. They take on roles. It's not an easy club to take on roles, because we demand something far more than what an average community club will demand, which is where leadership development happens, as you will see from some of the members sharing from their speeches today. Today, 7 members will be speaking. They are vying for a spot to speak on July the 22nd at the Global Leadership Impact Summit, where I'm projecting 5,000 people, but like today, we projected maybe 100, less than 100. We don't know. We don't know how many will turn up. That's why we say projected 5,000 people. That is a goal. We are playing big games here, of course. Last year, we started the Global Leadership Impact Summit. It was on July the 23rd, about a few weeks before the convention. And we said we would have 1,000 people. Now, I was disappointed. We didn't have 1,000 people in the Zoom room, of course. We had over 1,000 people watching either on YouTube or actually in Zoom. More than 650 people in Zoom and over 400 and something on YouTube concurrently. So we had 1,100 people. The disappointment was, of course, there were no 1,000 people in the Zoom room. But we did a big project, and this club is committed to helping you. If you are a member, you want to become a member, to do large projects, to expand your horizon. And we've been attracting members who really want to do something big or already doing something big. And they said, this is the club where I will learn and where I'll be pushed to do bigger things. We also have people in this club, members who don't want to do big projects. They just want to be members. They want to learn more about leadership and get pushed in that direction. So they are members here as well. I invite all of our guests to look into Leadership Speak to see why and what brings them here and to become a member if they wish to do so. But thank you so much for being here to actually celebrate with us today. Now, it's been a very hard work this year. Our theme is Connect. The Leadership Challenge. Why connect? Because it is one of the most fundamental basic things in Toastmasters Club these days, is the ability to connect with other members. When we connect with other members, that's when we begin to create community. And what does connect mean? Well, ladies and gentlemen, connect means caring for and caring about members, so that members do get that there's a genuine interest in them, that they will be looked after and cared for and inspired to do greater and bigger things. And this year we did throw a challenge to our members to express their extraordinariness by December of 2023. And a few members are working on how can they become extraordinary, not only in Toastmasters, but outside of Toastmasters. I mean, every one of us has that extraordinariness within us, that unique quality, that gift that we have. And to be able to find that or hone into that and to be able to express, that is available in Leadership Speak. We did many events this year, which I will mention along the way as we go along. But right now, Thank you so much for all being here. And I would like to introduce to you my co-founder. But before I do that, of course, I forget one thing before I introduce my co-founder, and that is to introduce our toast for the day. And if I'm not mistaken, it is our club secretary, Francois Bowen, who is also the president of her club, Antigua, and she is the club secretary today. Francois, are you there? To raise the toast.
Before that, there is somebody from the group, Marshall, who is sending a message to, I think, most of the members on a personal window. I will request the member, please don't send such messages of recording meetings and take notes with special link. I will request all the member not to click on that link because that is not from our club.
Thank you very much. If that is the case, you can remove them from the meeting if that is not consistent with what we are doing here. Thank you very much.
Yes, definitely.
Thank you. And thanks for that update. If you can please spotlight Francois for me so that we can do the toast. And thank you for that. Hello, Francois. How are you today?
I am wonderful. Thank you. And
yay, 1 year today.
Yes, I am so pleased
yes.
to raise the toast. Leadership Speak began in the year no leader will forget, the COVID-19 pandemic. We launched and charted in 1 week. Today, we are celebrating 1 year with members who span from across the globe, 13 countries, Canada, USA, UAE, India, the Caribbean island of Antigua and Barbuda, Namibia, in South America, Curacao, Spain, Sri Lanka, Kenya, Switzerland, South Africa, Uganda, and more will be added. Our program is geared towards members becoming better self-directed leaders. We are today a global phenomenon. The Leadership Challenge. Raise your glass. We will be better self-directed leaders who take initiative to be better communicators, thinkers, and leaders through Toastmasters, creating thirst for your growth that will add value to others and ourselves. A toast to a better self-directed leaders and happy anniversary Leadership Speak.
A toast to better self-directed leader and happy anniversary.
Happy anniversary.
Back over to President Brahm.
Thank you very much for that wonderful toast. Thank you. Very appropriate for our occasion. Thank you, Francois, and who is our club secretary as well. Thank you for serving as the secretary of the club. Our timer is Marie Cousin, and today she will let us know what our timings are by showing us the green, yellow, and red. Marie? If you can unmute yourself, Marie. Thank you.
Hello, dear guest on Toastmaster. I am your timekeeper. I will help you to know how much time has passed by using these 3 background colors. So green, it is the minimum time length. Yellow, it is the intermediate time length. And red, it will be the maximum time length on 30 seconds of grace. So please be careful with the time. So for the speeches, it will be the format of 5, 6, 7. But be careful for the evaluation. You must be synthetical. It will be 1:30 on 2. Thank you. Back to you, Toastmaster of the Day, Brahm Memone.
Thank you very much, Marie. And Marie is from Switzerland, and her primary language is, the first language is French. Thank you very much, Marie, for being a member of Leadership Speak. Our guest of honor is in the room, and I will be introducing our guest of honor in a few minutes after I've introduced my co-founder, who is Brent Pattison. Our, of course, guest of honor is International President from 2017-18, Balraj Arunasalam, and I will be introducing him shortly. But before that, thank you, Brent. And so, ladies and gentlemen, my co-founder, the person that I chose to sort of open this, create this club and charter this club with me is Brent Pattison. Now, you may ask me, why did I ask Brent Pattison to co-found this club with me? Well, we both come from corporate backgrounds. So for those of you who are not used to corporate backgrounds, sometimes you may find it a little bit different, shall I say. But we lead from a place of where we come from corporate backgrounds. And however, we don't restrict any membership. Like, we have members from very different diverse backgrounds. Some people are retired, some are in corporations, some are professionals, and so on. But they've all done their level 3, and they're all DT, or either they have DTMs. Brent is the inaugural and immediate past president of Leadership Speak. He was our first president and a member of Toastmasters since 2019. He is an experienced senior executive, previously leading teams as large as 4,000 employees. That is why he is a co-founder. We want 4,000 people in a room one day, Brent. And now he's focusing his time on independent consulting for a variety of projects and spending time with his family. Ladies and gentlemen, please help me welcome my co-founder, my friend, Brent Pattison. Brent.
Thank you so very much, Brahm. A year really can fly by pretty fast. Now, a year ago, as Brahm alluded to, he asked me to help him co-found this Club of Leadership Speak. And one of the very first responsibilities I remember in that, I believe we were in a Zoom call, Brahm, just you and you said, Brent, we need to create a vision for this club. Can you please help us draft and create a vision for Leadership Speak? Knowing that setting the culture correctly for the club is going to be fundamental to achieving club success. So we worked on that, and together we crafted a vision. Anyone who's attended a Leadership Speak meeting, and we obviously led with it right at the beginning of this meeting, that Leadership Speak is going to strive to be the premier club for experienced Toastmasters to become better self-directed leaders. Now, I want to use my time today to explain a little bit about what that vision really means, how we came up with it, and maybe even share a little bit of progress as to how we're doing as it relates to that vision. First up, I want to focus on that word premier. We're not kidding. We want to be the best advanced Toastmasters club focused on leadership development. The best. It's important that we're striving to be at the top, to be the premier club. 2, as Brahm had mentioned, we wanted a club focused on experienced Toastmasters. Because the focus of the club would be one of leadership development, we didn't want to detract from that by spending time on helping people overcome that fear of public speaking or teaching the basics of speechcraft and delivering a speech, but really focus the club for advanced Toastmasters who have already achieved a level 3 experience within their pathway. The word better is important, that we wanted this club to be comprised with people that no matter how good they are today, no matter how accomplished of a leader they are, that they're going to strive to become better as they develop within the club. And then lastly, this term of self-directed leaders. Well, what does that mean? Well, it means first, we shouldn't have to remind our members to log into Easy Speak and update the details of their speech or whether they're attending the next meeting. But really what self-directed leaders means, at least to me, is that a self-directed leader that is someone who doesn't require external factors. They don't require that kick in the butt from somebody else. They are able to inspire themselves in their own leadership development, that they're able to inspire themselves to continue their path forward to becoming better self-directed leaders. So you might ask, okay, if that's our vision, to be the premier club for experienced Toastmasters, to become better self-directed leaders, how did we come up with that vision? Well, when I think of the word vision for an organization, I kind of think of that as the what or the where we're going to go, but what we're going to become. The vision was crafted from our club mission. Our club mission being more the how we're going to do that. Specifically, that we're going to be the club where Toastmasters come to learn the art of self-directed leadership through continuous innovation and the use of technology. Remember, this was a club founded in the middle of COVID to strengthen connections with and between the people they lead. So if a vision is what the club is going to become, and the mission is how we're going to get there, how did we come up with the mission? Well, the mission was founded on ultimately a purpose, or put another way, why leadership development is important in the first place. And when I really thought hard about why leadership development was important, it came down to these three words: learn, innovate, and connect. Now, I went for a really long walk with my dogs, thinking on this subject after Brahm had asked me to develop a vision for Leadership Speak. And I thought long and hard, why is leadership development so important? Why is leadership important to you, Brent? So I went for a walk with my dogs. On my walk, I think I even talking out loud, thinking about the things that really drive leadership, that the three most common traits that the most effective leaders have. Why do I spend countless hours reading book after book on leadership, watching YouTube videos, attending seminars, joining Toastmasters? And it came down to these three words: that good leaders know that learning is an ongoing, forever occurring journey. We never stop learning. We never stop learning how to learn better, that we learn from our own experiences, that we learn better from evaluated experiences, and we can learn from the experiences of others. But good leaders continuously learn. The other thing was that good leaders innovate. They don't accept the status quo. They realize that no matter how good you are today, you have to be better tomorrow. And the way to do that is to innovate, to take from what we learned from those experiences and innovate to make them better. And that ultimately, what good leaders do is they make, create, strengthen, and foster connections with others through effective communication, applying everything they learned, using their innovations to make stronger connections. And that, to me, was the purpose of leadership development, the purpose of forming a club focused on leadership development that ultimately allowed us to end with that vision of being the premier club for experienced Toastmasters to become better self-directed leaders. So how are we doing? Well, first off, we've mentioned this more than once, but a little over a year ago, we chartered this club. We had our first launch meeting, and then within 1 week, as of today, we chartered this club. That means that we had 20 people who signed on, paid up. We submitted all of our forms into Toastmasters International, and we chartered this club within 1 week of our first launch meeting. That's an impressive way to start a club. 2, we achieved President's Distinguished status within our first term. Now, remember, we founded this club in the middle of February. Toastmasters term ends in June. That means we had 4 months to do what other clubs strive to do in an entire year. And we achieved it in that first 4 months. We achieved that President's Distinguished status by creating a club success plan, by making sure that not only did all of our members pay up, we formed a executive team. All of our executive members received the training that was necessary. Following our club success plan, we were able to achieve our membership growth goals and all of our educational award goals in order to achieve President's Distinguished status within that first term. As Brahm mentioned earlier, Leadership Speak also became the launch pad for the Global Leadership Impact Summit, where he had over 1,000 people attend his first summit meeting, and he's shooting for 5,000 in the next one. An amazing feat based on using the launching of Leadership Speak, the membership of Leadership Speak, to assist him in the development of that summit and help inspire himself to further create those connections through the Leadership Summit. In addition to that, Leadership Speak has already achieved President's Distinguished status for this year. And we didn't just do it yesterday. That was accomplished back in November. Continuing forward on that inspiration. Thank you. In addition to that, this club continues to grow. As Brahm mentioned, we have 33 active members from across 13 countries in the globe, and we continue to add new members every single month. Now, I also looked at how we were doing in our rankings. Now, based on the overall ranking that's available today, based on total educational awards, out of the 15,000 Toastmasters clubs in the world, currently Leadership Speak is tied for 55th place. Pretty impressive for a club that's only been around a year. However, I looked a little bit closer at that list of 55 clubs. And one of the things that struck me is that some of those clubs actually weren't growing. They're shrinking. So I looked even closer at the list of 55 clubs against who's already achieved their 10 distinguished club points towards President's Distinguished status. Well, out of those 55, only 12 have already achieved President's Distinguished status. Let that sink in for a minute, folks. That means that within 1 year of founding, Leadership Speak is currently the 12th ranked club in the world as of right now. 12 out of 15,000 Toastmasters clubs. But I took a closer look at that list. And of those 12 clubs on that list, there was only one advanced club. Just one. Leadership Speak. You know what that means? That means that Leadership Speak is the #1 advanced club in the Toastmasters universe. Let that sink in, and congratulations, folks. That is downright impressive. You should all be extraordinarily proud of yourselves based on that fundamental following of our vision to become the premier club for experienced Toastmasters, founded on this purpose. I can't wait to see what this club continues to achieve. Please, everybody, keep learning, keep innovating, and keep connecting. Back to you, Brahm.
Thank you. Wow, there was a lot of research you've done, Brent. You must have gone through tediously club by club to see what they were doing to be able to get that, because that information is not easily available to anyone. So thank you for doing all that hard work today. As Brent mentioned, we have done, lots of projects this year. Besides the Global Leadership Impact Summit, which was in July of last year, then we've continued in November, immediately 3 months after, to do another project where we had over 350 people in attendance. It was a smaller project. It was a partial Global Leadership Impact Summit type of project, where we had the main theme, the main thrust was to get the 3 winners at the convention in August to come and be in that meeting. And so we had, of course, Cyril Jr., Mahathir, and Alexandre Mat come to the meeting, as well as 2 international presidents who were Lark Doley and Pat Johnson, who were at the meeting. And we had several other events as well at the same time. And we had 350 people. So we continue ongoingly doing projects and different things. We have amusing, lighthearted events as well for the club members. One time we had Men in the Black theme. It was a blast. We had so much fun with that. And I know Sandra would be dying to do that at some point in time with me. And at another point in time, we had another Halloween theme where people all dressed up and made spoken character and voices that were different than their own. We do wonderful things. We are not just serious all the time. We actually encourage fun, but have excellence and leadership embedded in that fun at the same time. Now it gives me great pleasure to invite our guest of honor, Distinguished Toastmaster Balraj Arunasalam. Distinguished Toastmaster Balraj Arunasalam joined Toastmasters almost 29 years ago. At that time, why did he join? He suffered extreme stage fright, like we all do. That's why we come to Toastmasters. However, over the years, he has played a major role in the growth of Toastmasters in Sri Lanka. When Balraj Arunasalam became president of the Colombo Toastmasters Club 15 years ago, there were only 3 clubs in the small island nation. Because of his work and other leaders in that country, Sri Lanka, I think, currently has over 120 clubs. Congratulations, Distinguished Toastmaster Balraj Arunasalam. Currently, he is the chairman and the managing director of Gemtrans Engineering Company in Colombo, and he has been deeply involved in the philanthropic efforts in his homeland. Ladies and gentlemen, please help me welcome our past international president, Distinguished Toastmaster Balraj Arunasalam, to present his keynote address, How to be a Self-Directed Leader. All yours, Balraj Arunasalam. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you, Brahm. Thank you for inviting me. And at the outset, I wish to congratulate the Leadership Speak Forum and the club, and listening to Brent's run up on the club for just the first charter year on the 366th day is really encouraging. This is why I'm unable to slow down or leave the program, right? Which I never intend to do in all my life, but then you get refreshed and reminded and want to do more when you hear such success stories of a club around the world. 12th position in ranking, 55th in the total rank, and the only advanced club to be amongst the 12, and all that you have done in a single year, charter year, in the charter year is truly commendable. I deeply congratulate from my heart for a successful journey in the years ahead. Generally, there is so much of enthusiasm and passion in the charter year, but having listened to Brent, Brahm, and the toast person, I'm very sure that the things that you have done will keep this club going strong for many, many years to come. Now, I belong to a club which is 40 years old, and I belong to a club, I joined the program 33 years ago. And yes, when I joined, we were the only club in Sri Lanka, and we kept it to the elite. And when I joined the club, we had almost 100 members, and we surpassed 100, and we are almost there at dwindling between 85 and 100 all the time. So I belong to a club of some history, some in the making, and then that is the other 3 clubs that I belong to. Now, what your vision itself has a clear direction. This club is not about learning to speak. This club is all about learning to lead. So in that itself is a clear direction of your mission. And then so that you can focus on developing leaders to lead this organization in the years to come, because now you have the ability to be part of a district and also serve district office. All that is possible after the revamping the online club structure. Now, when I was on the board, we were very hesitant, and we didn't know what to do with the 11 online clubs at that time. This was 2014-15 time, and we didn't know where to go, how to encourage them, how to connect them to a district, or will they be undistricted clubs, and so many questions among the boardroom discussions. But today, yes, I truly feel for all the victims that the COVID-19 created. But at the same time, it also opened another door when we launched the Pathways program in 2017. And thanks to all the thinkers and the organization, that we had an online program already, which we were ready to adapt as soon as the COVID hit us in 2019. What could we have done if not for an online platform? All over 15,000 plus clubs would have not had meetings. Today, you have had 1,000 people coming together on through different platforms, and you're striving to have 5,000 people. All this is possible because of the online space. While congratulating you on all the efforts, I would like to just, as I explained to Brahm, and I also must thank my past district governor of my district, Munawara, who will not take no to an answer. So that's also another form of self-directed leadership. And she was the first point of contact for me to be here as a guest of honor in one of the most auspicious days in the Hindu calendar. I first said, okay. And then when I went and saw, it is the Shivratri day, and it's the Lord Shiva's birthday today, and it's a temple day. But she said, just 20 minutes, and then you have to be there. And I just couldn't have no to an answer, and that is why I'm here. So, and thank you, Munawara, for inviting me to be a part of this charter anniversary celebration. And so I would like to share with you some tips and tools that might help you in how to become a self-directed leader in a club that is strong in building self-directed leaders. So here is how to become. And on the other hand, we're focused on building self-directed leaders. It's a fascinating subject to deal with. I would like to just draw your attention to some of my personal anecdotal evidence to this so that it might help you in things that you want to do in the future, not only in the Leadership Speak Forum, but outside the club, in your district, and also completely outside the Toastmasters program in wherever you're operating in. In that sense, I would like to just first set some fundamentals right, and then set some experiences which might help you. Now, where does self-directed leadership begin? To me, this is a very subject dear and near to my heart because I do a lot of self-reflection before I could lead projects. Today, I'm sure you will agree with me, everything in the world is about a project. So it's a project that we have to lead. If it is a club, that's a project of 365 days, or in that structure of annual calendars of organizations and annual calendars of districts, and etc. So everything, if you want to have a dinner at home, it is a project. If you want to lead a project, it's a project. So in that sense, what is that? What is that one thing that we need to have as self-directed leaders? Now, let me be very frank and open. Self-directed leadership also has its advantages and huge disadvantages when it comes to passion over leadership. Right? Passion over leadership. Or we want to do everything. We are so passionate about the program that it blinds us to think whom we are leading and what is their interest and where is the thread to find the common interest. So that is another area that we have to be careful when it comes to self-directed leadership, because that also can destroy your leadership journey. So in words, if you want to put it in 2 words, it's personal conviction. How convinced are you to do what you want to do in leadership? What is that? Well, personal conviction. If whatever, I will share some experiences in that area. But this word called conviction is actually the personal direction of an individual that can lead and that can benefit thousands of people. And the kind of impact that you can create because of your conviction can be measured even before you start to lead. If you really do one thing, and that is to test your conviction. Test your conviction. What do you mean by testing our conviction? Because ultimately, testing our conviction is vital, because ultimately it depends largely upon the people whom you want to lead. And what are those beneficiaries going to receive from your leadership? That, if you can answer those questions to yourself, that is testing conviction. And there are very many ways to use some tools and apparatus to test your conviction. You can do one-on-one surveys. The best form of testing your conviction is through conversation. Or if 10 people tend to agree with what your wish or what your mission is all about, that means you have 100% buy-in. 8 out of 10 people don't quite agree, and that is the time that you need to change the course of direction. So that those are some vital elements in testing our conviction. And now the next thing is that I have personally experienced is nothing happens overnight. Yes, you're celebrating your first charter anniversary. It didn't happen overnight. Although you formed in a week, there were some people who were dreaming this to make it happen. But now comes the test. How will this club be a 40-year-old club like mine? Or a 75-year-old club that I have been to in some part of the US? So that needs also some direction. And that is, I call it retaining the momentum. Once you set a long-term vision or a short-term vision or a mid-term vision, retaining momentum is a vital tool and element of self-directed leadership. And I will give you some experiences that I have had in my leadership journey to actually amplify what I mean by that. And in all these things, the next point I want to make is the biggest mother of all in your self-directed leadership is the power of mentoring. Power of mentoring, because you can be self-directed with what you want to do, but only a mentor can listen to you to see whether that direction is right, whether that direction benefits all, whether that direction is sustainable, whether that direction can help build teams. So only a mentor can sit with you and listen to you, because ultimately coach will tell you how to do it. A good mentor will sit and listen hours to understand your self-directed leadership style and all the things that you want to do. I'll clearly explain to you what that means in the next couple of minutes. And to give you a reflection of yourself into this game of self-directed leadership and how to become one, the primary reason why you must lead and the primary reason that we must remember is that it has to be a purpose-centric leadership. Self-directed leadership has to be one that of purpose-centric leadership. Only then you can build teams, because you cannot do anything alone. Although directions come like just popping out from your brain and mind, and then your passion takes over that, ultimately it has to be the purpose that need to supersede everything else, because it's about the people and the purpose that you want to realize ultimately. And the last call in this, because this is a very vast subject, but given in the time allotted, I will just touch upon the next most important thing is willing to change the course of direction. Willing to change, willing to amend, willing to listen, willing to scrap a project, just and say, agree, we're not in the in the correct direction. Let us relook at this and come back later. So in these things that I shared with you, I'll share some anecdotal evidence of how it helped me to become a self-directed leader while not forgetting the things that I mentioned to you a little while ago. Now, when I led this club, the Colombo Toastmasters Club, I was the 19th president, I think, and that was in 2002-3, and I had I was the most I would say the least effective speaker in the club when I joined, but somewhere I had the leadership traits intact, owing to my childhood direction of my father and my mother leading to help people. And I think it came from the family, but I had no clue of how to amplify this, how to expand this into a global format or into a local format, first local format. And I had to lead people of who knows who in the city, from the Commissioner of Inland Revenue, the Inspector General of Police, and chairmen of companies. And here I have a very small company started by my father in 1949. So I had some hereditary and some legacy behind my business acumen when I joined this club, but I had to lead all these people, and that hugely challenged me to reach out to proper mentoring. And that's when, in the year that I was president, Dr. Dilip Abesekara came into my life. And although his family lives only 2-3 kilometers from my house, but he migrated to the US when he was 19 years of age. I knew his brother, sister, but not him. Then he was becoming the third vice president of the organization. And then he became into my life and gave me direction. And today, if I have been the international president of Toastmasters International, and if yours truly has done some things which probably has impacted the organization and the members and clubs around the world and some districts, it is because of this humble man called Dilip Abesekara. So formation of the District 82 was another interesting journey, passing from my club leadership days, and the formation of that, along with a powerful giant who had 1.5 billion people in India, and we were 20 million people. And we came to this big vision of forming a district with India. When I went to India for the first time, I thought, why is Balraj coming from this small, tiny little nation to tell us what to do and how to form a district? So all these things, conviction, and all the points that I shared with you were points that I used and the traits that I used in order to form the partnership with India. And there was the big give and take that was absolutely necessary to keep it going. And then leadership in crisis moments came when I was on the board, and then just out of the board when I came back is the COVID-19, which hit us hard. And this is another journey that all of us have to be reminded, so that we can go in this self-directed leadership journey. Conceiving an idea and selling it to your team, discovering yourself, learning and innovating and acting are the key elements of a self-directed leader. Wish you all the best in your endeavor to become a self-directed leader, and look forward to meeting you somewhere, because when I went through the gallery, I found some familiar faces whom I have met at the conventions, and look forward to seeing you, and wish you all the best for this club to last forever in our lifetime, and in the most young lives that has joined this forum, because a good club can remain forever. Thank you.
Thank you very much, distinguished Toastmaster Balraj Arunasalam, for that wonderful speech. What I got from that is, number one, is self-reflection, personal conviction, have a direction, power of mentoring. And of course, we heard about a great mentor in your life, Dilip Abhayasekara. Have a purpose, send and make sure that your leadership is centered around that purpose and willing to amend the course of and direction as we go along. Those are some of the points that I've written down. Thank you so much for a wonderful speech. We will, of course, be asking our members to go review that speech, because we record our speeches here and our meetings. So thank you so much, and wish you all the best. I know you have to leave the meeting today because you have to visit a temple. It's an auspicious day, but despite that, you were here. Thank you very much. Now, ladies and gentlemen, this is what we've been waiting for: the 7 speakers, the 7 samurai, the 7 horsemen. Now, this is not a contest, an international speech contest by any means, but we threw a challenge, a leadership challenge to our club members, that come and speak on today at our anniversary and speak about your journey or about leadership. And we have a panel of judges here who will be, of course, judging according to the International Speech Contest criteria. And we will also ask the audience to vote for the best speaker. And we will compare what the audience has voted for and what the judges have voted for. But whatever the judges vote for is what we will go with, as the winner will go on to speak at the July event, July 22nd, at the Global Leadership Impact Summit at that time. Ladies and gentlemen, are you all ready for that? I know we are running a little late. As I said, this meeting is going to last for 2.5 hours long because of the 7 speakers that we have to accommodate. So that is when we will end at the time. Our first speaker is Mohmad Asif Saiyed. I will not be calling on the evaluators to read the evaluation objectives, of course. We will straight go on to the speaker, because to save some time, and our evaluations as well be restricted to 2 minutes or less when the evaluations are come about with the GE. Mohmad Asif says this about his speech, or what he wants you to know about him today, is that leaders walk the talk by mastering emotional intelligence, and that goes a long way in fostering an environment of camaraderie and exponential growth. He is speaking today, ladies and gentlemen, from a Pathways speech, which is on the agenda. Please welcome Mohmad Asif Saiyed. Be the change you want to see in the world. Be the change you want to see in the world. Mohmad Asif Saiyed. All yours.
Be the change you want to see in the world. Meaning, the change starts from you. Meaning, once upon a time, when I started my career as an auditor, I was known as Mr. Hot, a person with hot temper. And now, after so many years, again, I'm an auditor, but known as Mr. Cool and Calm Composed Auditor. What is the difference, or how did I change from Mr. Hot tempered to Mr. Cool, Calm and Composed as a person? Is the change which I brought within myself. Stop thinking I want to change the world and started thinking, how can I change myself to serve the people, to serve my clients and make them happy and also make myself happy? What kind of a world would you like to live in? A world which is full of hatred, anger, distrust, negativity? Or would you like to live in a world full of happiness, enjoyment, camaraderie, support, trust? Well, it all depends on us, in our inner thinking. because in our thinking reflects on the outside. To tell you about what is emotional intelligence and how does it really impact us as leaders. Emotional intelligence is one of the topmost skills today in leadership, more important than intelligence. Reason, as leaders, we are cascading our efforts or our influence on many aspects of teams across. We are taking our emotions to the top leadership. We are taking our emotions to the people we serve. And what is so important of being emotionally intelligent as a leader is becoming aware of your own emotions, at the same time perceiving the emotions of the people whom you serve. Because when the emotions are respected, when you understand the emotions, there is less chance of that spark happening, that fight happening, the kind of the spark of the fire, getting into a big volcano, which is always destructive, as you know. So it is sometimes anger, sometimes frustration is, you cannot go, the frustration, you cannot avoid it. But what you can do is the way you want to approach that particular event. That's so important. Now, I'll give you a common example. In our auditing profession, if I'm going to ask some information to my auditee as a client, and the person doesn't give me the information because he is too busy, it is also going to come and impact my work. It's bound that I'm going to be frustrated. And at the same time, it may happen that that person is also frustrated because he is under too much of pressure to deliver his targets. Now, imagine both of us bring this, frustration together. What's going to happen? It's all going to be big fights and fights and fights, and it's not going to be good for the organization at all, correct? Now, let me tell you, one of the sources from where I got the inspiration to change myself was the two books from Dale Carnegie, How to Stop Worrying and How to Make More Friends. It is there I learned that people are full of emotions. And when you understand the emotions and you can respect their emotion, you can correspond to their emotions of being respected, of being acknowledged, or can attend to the emotions of their fear, then you get better results. You build a rapport with the person. You build a trust. You build a connection. You build a relationship. And that's where, my dear friends, is success lies. Success lies in making people come together for a common cause. Correct? So what's so important, which I noted during this transformation, is be aware. Aware means, yes, if you are going through an angry phase, be aware that you are going through an angry phase. And that can happen by doing a journaling, by making a list of how your emotions are getting impacted with the actions of other people, and also getting to know how your actions are going to affect the other people. By having a common list of all your emotions, the trigger points which will affect you, you can bring those trigger points under control. For example, one more example I give you. Whenever I used to feel hungry, I used to feel anger as well. As soon as I realized this trigger point and brought it under control, it really helped me to control my anger and transform myself in a more understandable person to my clients. So in leadership, what today I feel, when we go through across, let's say, whether in Toastmasters Club, whether in our organizations, what really happens is when people feel they are not acknowledged or the egos come in between, they stop listening to other people. They stop respecting the other people's emotions. It is there where a lot of chaos happens. And that's not what, as we leaders, we want, right? We want a world. What kind of a world you want to be? A full of happiness, encouragement, empowerment. And that is where you, we or I need to be aware of the emotions more than the technical knowledge and more than your communications. So be the change you want to see in the world to make the world a better place by knowing your emotions and emotions of other people. Let's come together to make a better place at Leadership Speak as well. Over to you.
Thank you very much. Emotional intelligence, wonderful subject. The judges will be, of course, putting down their notes and judging for this one, but we will keep going and continue and introduce the next speaker. Our next speaker is going to be Sudarshan Seshadri, and I believe he's all the way from United Arab Emirates. That's where he lives, but a member of Leadership Speak. When I asked him about his what he wanted to say today before his speech, Sudarshan has said that an anniversary is any sort of is a sort of an important milestone in any journey, and to be part of that journey is to convey gratitude for the path covered and to greet oneself to travel the rest of the distance with renewed vigor and confidence. Amazing, great one. I'm going slow so that the judges are aligned. I know it's very quick. They have to think very quickly. Sudarshan's speech is titled, as you can all see from the agenda, it's titled CCCP. We'll find out what that means. And is, of course, speaking from pathways. Again, it's all on the agenda. So have a look at the agenda. And the agenda is being posted on a regular basis. Ladies and gentlemen, Sudarshan Seshadri, CCCP, Sudarshan Seshadri.
Nothing works. Absolutely nothing works. The district leadership, the club leadership, the area leadership, everyone is biased. Everyone is selfish. They don't care about us, the members. I don't want to be a part of Toastmasters, and that's it. Sudarshan, can you please sit down and have this coffee? Take a sip before you utter the next word. Do you understand why you're shouting, my dear? Do you even realize what you're doing? She held my hands and calmed me down to the extent that I did not smash the table in front of me. Fellow Toastmasters and guests, this was circa 2017. I was in the 3rd or the 4th year of my Toastmasters journey. I had delivered what I thought was a killer speech in the international speech contest. I did not get placed. No one told me why. No one told me what. All they said was runner-up number 2 or the 3rd place winner is XYZ, and Sudarshan is nowhere in the list. I was ready to rip apart my CC manual. I was ready to kick the Toastmasters program to the curb and say, this ain't for me. Leadership, Toastmasters, a whole lot of bunkum. Guess what she told me? Sudarshan, can you please tell me what do the alphabets C, 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 P stand for you? So me being a quiz whiz, someone who's prided himself on knowledge of trivia, shouted out, the Union of Soviet Socialist Republic. Why is that relevant? She looks at me and says, no, my dear, you got the acronym right, but the meaning's all wrong. Let me tell you, what does CCCP mean? And stop shaking the table. You're going to spill the coffee on me. So I stopped. I took a couple of steps back from the table, looked at her, and I'm going to share with you what she told me that day. The first C in Toastmasters stands for what happened to me. One fine afternoon in my office with a vendor of mine, discussing something on which the vendor has not delivered. And the vendor suddenly out of the blue tells me, why don't you join me in the evening today? I thought maybe he's trying to butter me up because he's missed the deadline. I said, no, it's not for a drink. It's not even for a coffee. Just come join me. You'll like it. He connected me to this wonderful world called Toastmasters. I walked into the room, angry young man, walked out of the room, carrying the trophy for the best table topic speaker. That day, a love affair began. And as in any love affair, if there is no heat, if there is no passion, there is no energy in that affair. And that's exactly what I was displaying that afternoon to my mentor. And she said, this, my dear, is the first C. You get to connect. Just look at us today. We are 74 people from all possible corners of the world coming together and connecting. And this word should have been the word of the day because I've heard Brahm say this, I heard Brent say this, I heard DTM Balraj say this, I heard Toastmaster Asif say this. We've all been repeatedly saying connection is the reason why we are all here. So the first C stands for connection. Now that you've connected, what are you going to do next? She asked me. And I said, of course, this is a platform for communication, so I'm here to communicate. Can you see I'm so fluent at English? My choice of words is impeccable as always, and I can wow the audience. She said, is that communication? Is that all there is to communication? Communication is another way to connect. You communicate to connect, and therefore you need to know who you're communicating with. What do you want to communicate? How do you want to communicate? How much? How little? In what language? Your knowledge of English is irrelevant if the person across the table doesn't understand what you're saying. So communicate to connect, not to snap the twig. And this was the second C that she told me. Now the third one, she said, you are angry, you are annoyed, you are irritated with the district leadership and the club leadership and the area leadership. So what are you going to do about it? Are you going to sit and cry? Are you going to do something about it? Why don't you take the first step and collaborate? Talk to people all around you to find out what your grievances are and ensure that these are addressed. And if they are not, accept what is going to be done and walk the path with them. So the third C, she told me, was collaborate. Collaborate, communicate, and connect such that you form a tight bond, and a bond that cannot be broken, and a bond, as DTM Balraj told us, can last a lifetime. So now I've done all of this, right? I've connected, I've communicated, I've collaborated. To what end? For what joy? What am I going to get out of it? Because ultimately the question we all choose to answer is, what's in it for me? The answer she gave me that day, and I would like to share with you, is the last P stands for progress. Because unless you have an army backing you, unless you have a crowd cheering on for you, unless you have that silent member in the room clapping for you, there ain't no progress, my friend. Progress happens when you have people in your corner and you are able to add more people to your corner, which is precisely what we do. We want to become self-directed leaders. We want to be the premier club for self-directed leaders. How do we get there? We progress, we get people with us to progress, and all of us together reach to a point which was better than what we expected. And this, she told me, was the next P. So now do you understand, Sudarshan, why you are in Toastmasters? Yes, you didn't get placed today, but can you go and ask people what went wrong? What could you have done differently? Was there something that they were looking for which you didn't have? I have been looking for that answer from that day. I haven't still found it, but one thing that I found for sure is that CCCP definitely works, and it is something that I would encourage each and every one of you to try out in your own capacity. You may surprise yourself. Thank you, and back to you, Mr. Toastmaster.
Thank you, Sudarshan. CCCP, now we know what that means. It means connect, communicate, collaborate, etc. for a long-term community that lasts beyond our lives, our lifetimes. Very well said. Thank you very much. Wait, pause a second only for the judges to do whatever they need to do. I hope that the audience itself is also making notes as to who they will vote for at the end, who they think is a good speaker. Our next speaker is Aswathy Rajan. What she's told me about the speech is that this speech is about her life's journey, which unleashed a very important leadership trait, the ability to grow and flourish in any difficult situation. All right, we look forward to that, Aswathy, very much. Very interesting speech title, of course. Bloom where you are planted. Aswathy Rajan, bloom where you are planted, bloom where you are planted, Aswathy Rajan.
Sitting near the window, I looked at the beautiful dandelion seed gliding along the breeze. Slowly, it landed on the ground and disappeared. I wonder from where the seed would have come from, meandering in search of a perfect place to land and grow. It must have traveled far, finally, to disappear. Hello, fellow Toastmasters and dear guests. That sight reflected my life. Like that dandelion, I was also waving in the sea of events in my life and was searching the right place to land. A wannabe doctor, after many struggles, settled in the zoo. I mean, not the caged one. I studied zoology and completed my PhD to become a scientist. Unfortunately, I could not contemplate further on what next would fit for me. And even after years of struggle and hard work, I could not settle down as a successful scientist. I could not live a life of my dreams. That thought pushed me to a dark tunnel where I could not even see my dreams anymore. As if my dream has suddenly disappeared, just like that dandelion. But my love for the subject kept me moving, and I started teaching young students at a nearby school. Slowly, I started enjoying each and every moment of it. And that was when I rediscovered myself. I could unleash and unfurl my hidden potential, my passion. It is well said that sometimes your own potential remains unnoticed until you push yourself out of your comfort zone. And that's how I realized that I could motivate young minds through my unique style of teaching. And I could inspire them through my perspectives and knowledge and make a difference in their lives. During that journey, one day I got an opportunity to witness a motivational session by a Toastmaster. Oh my God, it opened a treasure chest for me. I was introduced to a platform where we can learn to inspire others through the magical power of communication and leadership. I thought, if I can become a better communicator like him, then imagine the impact I could create on my students. If I can become a better communicator, I can change and touch many lives. And April 2020, I became a Toastmaster. To my surprise, Toastmasters was not only about communication, but a lot more. At every single meeting, I could learn a new thing, something which gave a new meaning to my life. Toastmasters taught me networking. And now I am connected to people from different parts of the world. Toastmasters made me creative. And I became the editor of my district's newsletter, the PR chair of district conference, and also a member of Region 13 PR team. Toastmasters made me a writer. And now I am an author of 2 books and writing my 3rd one. Toastmasters gave me a vision, and I started my new venture, a platform for educating and training teachers and students across the globe. And above all, Toastmasters made me a leader who grew from the charter president of a club to an area director and now stepping on to the next level of leadership. Toastmasters taught me to believe in myself. A few days back, I was just retrospecting my journey, standing at my favorite corner of the house, that window. And for my surprise, I saw a small plant at the same place where the dandelion finally landed. It struck me. I had been such a dandelion, looking for the right place to land and convert all my dreams into reality. However, life took me to an unplanned and unexpected destination. And I could realize that a true leader is one who grows and flourishes in any situation. Exactly like the leaders of this club. Leadership Speak came into existence when the whole world was undergoing the trials and tribulations and proved the world that the situations are mere excuses. With a strong vision and self-belief, you can still grow and flourish. And today, I may not be a successful scientist, but I'm certainly a self-directed leader who can grow anywhere. Friends, the next time you see any dandelion flying in search of the right place, remember, if you land at the unexpected and unplanned place, don't get dejected. You know, you can strive through any adversities and emerge as a leader because we have the ability to bloom where we are planted. Thank you. Over to you, Toastmaster of the Day.
Thank you, Aswathy. Great speech. Dandelions. Now I know what dandelions mean to you. And whenever I see a dandelion in the future, I know it's seeds floating around to be planted as leaders. Wonderful speech. Thank you. The judges are doing their job. It is great. I love it. Our next speaker is a pretty much a senior member of District 86. He was the club coach of the year before. The year before I was awarded the club coach of the year in the district. It's Raam Lakhanpal. I'm so glad to have him as a member in our club. I asked him why he's speaking today and what brings him to Leadership Speak. And he said the realization and the importance of leadership, the celebration of personal achievements, as well as that of the club, such as Leadership Speak, that has grown exponentially within 1 year. And of course, he likes the connectivity with the members, which are a unique phenomenon that we emphasize on in Leadership Speak. And he says it's unheard of anywhere. Thank you. Wonderful thoughts there, Raam. Today, Raam is going to be speaking, of course, from Pathways, as we encourage all members to speak from Pathways, no matter what they're speaking about. And he's going to be speaking on his speech title is all about leaders, of course. I'm just going slow for the judges to be able to judge. That's why I'm going slowly a little bit here. Let me introduce to you Raam Lakhanpal. Leaders make the impossible possible. Leaders make the impossible possible. Raam Lakhanpal.
Mr. Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters, and wonderful guests from out around the globe. Something quite unique happened. Some may even say bizarre. Sending ripple of facts through the district. What is this all about, you may ask? The answer, something really, really out of nowhere. The area director said in his letter, in his email to everybody, saying that the area contest is hereby canceled. Adios, goodbye, your journey ends in here. And justification in his email is astounding. What he writes is that, with the exception of my club, all the other 3 clubs did not submit anything that is required. And therefore, this is the decision, it is a final, and he put a quote this, quote that in his letter to us. I took it aback. I said, am I going to be a follower and just take it, or would I do something different? I put on a leader's hat. I said, I'm going to do a very, very different thing. I called an emergency meeting of my club. I said, up till now, it's been 3 days, going to the 4th day, and nothing has happened as far as action, what to do, etc. Here's what my solution is. Here's what I'm going to do. I'm not asking for your permission. Rather, what I'll do is, I'm going to tell you that I didn't use the word hijacked, but I'm taking over and I am going to run the contest, revitalize it, re-energize it, and the action is on. That means the contest will be on irrespective of what the area director said, irrespective of the district, what it says. Because if you looked at the quote in this manual, contest manual, you'll find that there is provisions there which states that contests, area contests must be held. And this is exactly what I wanted to go about. So that was a challenge for me. Now the work began, the big work began, finding different individuals to play the role. Initially, I took on the role that of a contest chair. And then I thought slowly that I could not assume all this role. Why not find a contest chair? And finding all these roles that are going to do. Of course, I called the district. I told them exactly what's going on. And they actually initially said, that hasn't been done before. We have not heard of this before. What is in it for you? I said, nothing. The thing that I'm looking out for is making sure that our members are not left behind. But they said, you're really taking a leadership role, aren't you? This is supposed to be somebody else. I am the lonely sergeant at arms in my club. Nothing more than that, nothing else. And I thoroughly enjoy that. And I meet everybody every week. And I really, this is where it comes in. Leaders make impossible possible. You have to make it happen all the time. I was encouraged by the phone calls that came afterwards, saying that, how can I help? There are two ladies in our club says, we will do anything to help make this a reality. We will not let this fail, and we will do it for you, Raam. You are taking something that ordinarily will not be done by anyone, but you're doing this. This is wonderful. I think people would love to do this. We would love to go. Now we have the ticket, actually direct ticket from the area. As long as they don't go over time, they're in. They will move on to the division final. My area contest has been planned for the 21st. But there was one dilemma. I had something. I was the contestant for both the evaluation as well as international speech. What to do with this? I nominated a lady that worked very hard in our district, in our division, in our area. It's a great lady. I said, here it is. You were running on the contest. You take on my spot. I'm going to run this. And then I said, I want to do something different, get it all organized so everything will run right. If you were a Toastmaster, if you were put in a similar position like I am, what would you do? Would you just be a follower, or would you be a leader? I will always wear a leader hat. Follower, I would be a follower, like the training we receive at Leadership Speak. Each and every week, there's a gem of information that's given to us. And this is what we come to Leadership Speaks, and that is what it's all about. Mr. Contest Chair, back to you.
Thank you, Raam. Thank you very much. I am not the contest chair, but thank you for calling me the contest chair. This is an informal contest camaraderie amongst the members, and we shall keep it at that. Just as a reminder to the judges that it's just informal, and hopefully nobody will break a desk or throw the coffee at me when I announce the winner. Thank you very much all for being here and enjoying the meeting. Our next speaker is Hannah Schmidt. And I've known Hannah Schmidt for almost 3 years. She became a member of a club that I was in previously, and she liked what we did there. And then when I came to this club, she banged on the door, saying, let me in, I want to be a member here. And because she loves what we do as a team here, and she wanted to be part of that team. So thank you so much, Hannah, for insisting to be a member here and being a member here, because we do great things together, of course. I asked her about today. She says, I took up the challenge to differentiate between human and robot leadership, and as to who will reign supreme in the future. I'm intrigued. I'm looking forward to this speech. Wow. Okay. Hannah is speaking, of course, from Pathways, and it is all on the agenda. Hannah Schmidt, humans versus robots. Humans versus robots, Hannah Schmidt.
When faced with today's birthday theme, Connect, the leadership challenge, it seemed natural or obvious for me to look at the interaction between the robots and the humans and to establish who will or who reigns supreme as a future leader. And hence I penned my title, Humans versus Robots. Mr. Toastmaster, deliberating on this, I realized the simple choice of words injects bias into my speech. And to shift this bias from confrontational to cooperational I now title my speech, Humans and Robots, Connecting and Focusing on the Positive. To me, one of the pivotal features of human leadership is the capacity and the willingness to make decisions. For it is these decisions to enable people, humans, to act upon and move forward. Leaders make decisions on information available to them. Apart from experience, they connect with people and leaders to widen their information base. This, to me, will not change. This is basic principle. What will change, or has indeed already changed, is the way this connection is established. Starting from person to person, direct via letters, progressing to the telephone, then via email, via chat, via Zoom, this communication channel is available to us, has now been augmented by artificial intelligence. And as artificial intelligence grows, it needs a container. And this will be the robot. Mankind has always been challenged to explore the unknown, the moon, the Mars, the deep space and yonder, and found a process to deal with this and build a machine called a robot to take over the everyday repetitive tasks of this process. This is where the mechanical man, or maybe a woman, will be mostly employed. This bionic man, as a robot is also called, will handle all the dangerous jobs, do the repetitive tasks for humans on an everyday level, call it the drudgery. Robots do not tire. They don't want to go to sleep. They do not get distracted, nor do they get bored. Hence, automation will take over this routine work. Humans are eager to connect. Humans will not give up, which defines them. Connecting with people, talking to customers, keeping all operations running smoothly, showing empathy, compassion, and tenderness. Robots still need us humans to command, to do the job. And all these traits are not embedded in robots, or not yet. Sundari Bandari describes it very well, and I quote, "Among all the creations on earth of God, human intelligence is one of the biggest, the best gifts given to us humans. Meanwhile, the robot is a creation of humans due to the intelligence, and I add leadership. Thus far, I do not see any conflict arising between robots and human leadership. We should, however, be mindful of the uncertainties, the unpredictable, like, is the robotic future for better or for worse? Will mankind eventually be surrounded by too many robots? Will artificial intelligence gain complete control over our mankind, be it in the medical sector, doing the complicated surgery, or as I've read recently, be in the military? And most of all, will robots take over the world? And what will happen to us humans? These are definitely some of our common leadership challenges. Human leadership will step up here and face that challenge as to what needs to be done. Pray for and Create the real existence, the experience. Try out for that true, actual human interaction. Focus on the positive, and most of all, keep a vigilant eye on the development of the robot and make the correct decision as how to deal with this medical device, mechanical device called the robot. This is where the true challenge of leadership. Let us connect. Mr. Toastmaster.
Thank you very much. A very well-researched speech. I was entranced by your research, and what robots mean is my favorite subject. Amazing. Thank you so much, Hannah, for that. Our next speaker is Mariana Burka. She's a charter member as well, and she's been with us for a year. Such a pleasure to have you here, Mariana. I asked her about why she's speaking today. She wants to speak about her growth as a leader and as a person since she's joined Leadership Speak and the effect on her life. Mariana Burka, 1 year. 1 year, Mariana Burka.
Happy birthday, Leadership Speak. Mr. Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters, most distinguished guests. I am one of the 11 charter members who's still here, and I am honored to share my experiences and my reflections on the past year as a member and as a Vice President of Education for 6 months for our Toastmaster Club. When we engage in a new activity, we should all ask ourselves, why? We should ask ourselves 3 times why, so we can get a deep answer, the reason. My first why did I come to Toastmaster Leadership Speak? Because I got an invitation and I was curious. That is a why. My second why did I stay? Because obviously curiosity wears off very fast, yet I'm still here. My second why, because I realized all the opportunities I can learn here in this meeting. Over the past year, I had the opportunity to work with this fantastic group of people who are all committed to help our club and our members to grow and develop. We did face challenges. We lost over 1/3 of our membership around renewal time in September. Yet we overcome that obstacle and we earned President Distinguished Club designation by mid-November, first club in our district. And throughout the year, we celebrated our successes, just like today, because we are friends here. Along the way, I learned some valuable lessons about leadership that I would like to share with you today. When I took on the role of Vice President of Education, I was excited, but also a little apprehensive. I had this role before at my home club, Honeymoon City Toastmasters, but in a global club, people all around the world sounded daunting for an introvert such as myself. But I was adamant to tackle this new challenge and started building relationships, friendships with you. And I find that being a leader is not something you are born with. It's something that one learns, practices, and grows into. We achieved fantastic things together. All of our meetings are exceptional, both by applying modern technology, thank you, Zoom, and we have high quality contents. These together reward us with many visitors week after week, just like today. In the past year, first and foremost, I learned that being a leader is not about telling people what to do. It's about inspiring, guiding, and supporting to reach full potential, including giving a break when it's needed. As the Vice President of Education, I had the privilege to get to know each and every one of you. Not just your Toastmaster goals, but your professional dreams and family circumstances. As we met between the meetings, because we learned that leadership happens between the meetings. Secondly, I learned that effective communication is the cornerstone of any leadership role. Whether it is communicating with each other or planning an event, clear and concise communication is essential. Throughout my experiences at the club, I greatly improved my own communication skills. I also had the opportunity to see firsthand how this can be used to motivate, inspire, and connect people. At the beginning, reaching out individually was daunting and became easier as we forged friendships. Thirdly, I learned that being a leader, it means being a lifelong learner. The more we learn, the more we grow and better we can serve people around us. So let me get back to the 3 whys. I mentioned the first 2. Why I came? Because I was invited and I was curious. Why I stayed? Because I saw the opportunity. And why am I still here? Because I see the possibilities, that how much I still can learn, improve, and be a part of this amazing Toastmaster Club. Thank you very much. Back to you, Mr. Toastmaster.
Thank you very much, Mariana, for your dedication and for being VP of Education and telling us what you've learned during the time, and hope we will continue to have you, as Arunasalam said, Balraj Arunasalam, for a lifetime in this club, because we want to be here for a very, very long time. So thank you so much for being with us and being a supporter and being a charter member. Thank you. Our next speaker is also a charter member. And actually, she was part of the mastermind group as we were masterminding about this club. And she asked me at that time, what role can I play? And I want to be an officer as well. And I said, you would make a perfect sergeant at arms. Since you're just starting out your journey, you have just the basics and you're not that familiar with Toastmasters. Let's start you off with the sergeant at arms, which she did. And so last year on on February the 5th, at the launch meeting, she was the sergeant at arms, opened the meeting, and the rest is history. I asked her today why she's speaking today. Nikhita Winkler said this: an anniversary is a perfect opportunity to reflect on one's journey. This speech is a reflection of why I came to Leadership Speak and why I am still here. Thank you very much. Nikhita Winkler, my why. My why, Nikhita Winkler.
Thank you, Brahm. 2 years ago, or nearly 2 years ago, my first Toastmaster mentor, Erika Mulondo from ABC Toastmasters in Namibia, introduced me to Brahm. I needed to do a project, which was basically to MC an event, and she thought that Brahm and I would be a perfect match. So she matched me up to MC at an event where Brahm was a speaker. She connected us, and that's how I ended up meeting Brahm. That same year, I relocated from Namibia to Spain. And unfortunately, I had to leave ABC Toastmasters. So I started looking for a virtual club that I could be a part of. And because I had connected with Brahm, I reached out to him and I asked him, could I join my speak? Brahm was already busy building Leadership Speak. And so he had another idea and he invited me to be a member, to charter the club, and I became Sergeant at Arms. Now, perhaps what Brahm doesn't know is that it wasn't such an easy decision. I really had to throw myself into the deep waters because I joined Toastmasters to speak. I wasn't excited to spend 2 hours in a club meeting doing other roles. I wanted to speak. I wanted to evaluate so that I could learn how to, or what makes a great speech. But what I didn't know then was that every single role in a meeting is significant and has valuable skills to teach us. This, what we are experiencing right now, is a result of teamwork. All the achievements Leadership Speak has is a result of team effort, team motivation. And that's what I learned. Well, we all have our unique stories of how we ended up here today. We all have those connections that brought us here today. But I believe that the reason we are still here, that those reasons are connected. I am still here because the mentorship in this club has given me free education to excellence. I am still here because the innovation that the members of Leadership Speak exemplify is inspiring. I am still here because I have seen our members grow throughout the year. And that is the kind of peer pressure that I want to be surrounded by. And I am still here. You are still here in this meeting, in this club, because Leadership Speak excels at engaging its members, its guests. And that's what keeps us going. Because even as a self-directed leader, there are moments when my direction gets lost in the whirlwind of life. And I need a hook. I need something to grab onto. And Leadership Speak knows how to keep its members engaged and keep them taking the next level forward. A year later, I am here I'm embarking on my first HPL, High Performance Leadership Project, and I won the club contest. And for me, that's an incredible achievement because I want to share with you what happened 2 nights before the contest. I spent some time preparing for my speech and with a mentor, a great mentor. But then the week of the contest arrived, and it was an extremely overwhelming week for me. And I didn't feel connected to my speech. So 2 nights before the contest, I withdrew my name. And I told my coach, I'm sorry, I'm just not, it's not the right time. And my coach didn't let me back out. So I got back into the contest. The night before the contest, I rewrote my entire speech. The speech that you connected to, the ones who voted for me. I rewrote that entire speech the night before, and it came to me so naturally. And so what I want to leave you with today is that we are here because of connection. We are here to connect. Let's also remember that each and every speech that we deliver in this club connects us to our greater purpose, connects us to our service, to our why. Ultimately, I want to say thank you, Leadership Speak, for the special year. Thank you for supporting me and each other. Thank you for challenging me. Thank you for your mentorship, your guidance, for your push. And now I'm here not to learn to speak only, but also to learn to lead. Back to you, Toastmaster of the Day.
Amazing. Wow. Those were our 7 speakers for today. And what wonderful, beautiful speeches they were. Now, I find that in the audience, there are several people named Sharon Jenkins, because Sharon probably passed you on her link and you entered the room with that name. I see some of that you have already renamed yourself. If you haven't renamed yourself, if you are not Sharon Jenkins, please rename yourself to who you are so we know who is in the room. Also, if you will see that in the chat, there's a guest book, a link to our guest book. Please fill in the guest book and we will connect with you. Connection is very, very important in Leadership Speak. That is why we thrive, because we emphasize on connect, connect, connect. Get to know each other, create camaraderie, create community. And so please fill in our guest book and let's connect as well. And we will get back to you with your requests on the guest book. Thank you, Sharon. Now we come to that point in time where we will launch the poll for the speaker, for the audience vote. We will not reveal the poll until the end so that the judges are not swayed either way. I mean, they perhaps were swayed by whatever I was saying, like somebody put a note, let's treat it as a contest. But I wanted to treat this really as an informal camaraderie, connection, collaboration amongst our members rather than as a contest at any cost. So that is my purpose today. I will launch the poll myself personally, just to make sure that it goes the right way. And there we go. I think that is it. If you will please vote so that the speakers are encouraged by your voting and what you think of their speeches. Thank you very much. The timings have been noted in the chat. If there was any overtime, they will not be disqualified because this is not an international speech contest in any manner whatsoever. I will keep the poll on for a while. It will be on. We will break only for 1 minute. Madam Timer, please give us 1 minute for a quick breather, stretch, replenish your coffee, and then I will be pleased to hand this over to our general evaluator, who was part of our mastermind in creating this club. Break for 1 minute. Thank you very much, everyone.
Time is up.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Marie. Please, I'll keep the poll open, but will not reveal what that is until the very end, so the judges now have the time to do whatever they need to do and assess everything and fill in the forms and so on and so forth. And I can see that they've all been at work and have submitted their results as we go along. We are doing it all electronically. There are no counters here, and so on. All right, ladies and gentlemen, let's begin. Mr. Zoom Master, are we ready?
Yes, we are.
Thank you very much. It gives me great pleasure to introduce to you my very good friend, a very close friend, a confidant. Whenever there's anything that's going on in Toastmasters that I need advice from, I go to this person. He's our past district governor. I've known Tony Breshett for a very long time, distinguished Toastmaster Tony Breshett. He is also parliamentarian in the club and a stalwart, a key foundation to the club, and a great encourager. And as you know, those members he's been encouraging on a very regular basis. You know what a great motivator, inspiring human being he is. And I'm proud to call him my friend and the support that he gives me personally at all times. Ladies and gentlemen, please help me welcome distinguished Toastmaster Tony Breshett.
Wow, thank you. Hello, everyone. As you know, I'm the general evaluator, and I'm going to start by asking our excellent timer, Marie Kuzin, to give the timing signals for the evaluators' 2-minute speeches. Marie, could you show the colors and at what time the colors would occur?
So at 1 minute, it will be green. At 1 minute 30, it will be yellow. And at 2 minutes, it will be 2 minutes. It will be red, excuse me.
Yes, okay. And Maria, I just want to say right now, as part of my evaluation, thank you very much for being excellent at this role. Not only do you pay attention to the speeches, you're focused on the timing, obviously. So thank you for what you have done. Now, as a further add-on, if the evaluations go 30 seconds after Marie has flashed the red, the Zoom master will regretfully mute the speaker, okay? Because we're going to have to stay on time. We have 7 evaluators, and we'll start off with the first one.
Tony, just want to reconfirm. At 2 minutes 30 seconds, I need to mute the evaluator, right?
Yes, please. And again, thank you for what you've done so far, Lukesh. Thank you. Our first evaluator is Ray Rivero, and Ray has been a Toastmaster for 11 years. He's been a club officer, area director, division director. He's completed his 2nd DTM. and he's a member of 3 clubs in District 28, which is parts of Michigan and Ohio, USA, and the province of Ontario, Canada. Ray will now evaluate the presentation of Mohmad, Asif, Saiyed. Ray, please.
Thank you very much, Tony. Mohmad, thank you very much for such a great and wonderful speech. You had a great opening. You started with, I'm going to share with you how I went from Mr. Hot to Mr. Cool, using the tools of managing your emotional intelligence. And you set that out perfectly. You did a reflection, set the goals, mentioned the tools involved, and shared pointers of how you converted from anger over to transforming yourself. Well done. Some little areas of improvement, there weren't too much, but here goes. I noticed sometimes when you were speaking, there was a reflection of a little ring light off your glasses. Sometimes it's easier just to maybe tip it, or even better yet, take them off so that it doesn't interfere with that reflection. And I also noticed a little bit about that you got a little lost reflecting. That's a very common thing to happen for even experienced speakers, because they're just thinking about what to add right in the middle of the speech. And then review the use of your gestures. Have a neutral position, and then bring up your gestures to bring up key points. And as for a challenge, I would love to see you turn this 5 to 7 minute speech into a keynote speech, because you have shared a lot of good emotional intelligence advice to go from Mr. Hot to Mr. Cool. And finally, as an idea to emphasize, especially toward the end, you might want to just step up close to the camera like I'm doing to just challenge your audience to improve your emotional intelligence. Over to you, Mr. General Evaluator.
Okay. Excellent. Thank you very much, Ray. Next, Mohmad Azimuddin will be evaluating Sudarshan Seshadri's speech. And Mohmad is he's joined our club fairly recently. Yet, I've just been amazed how Mohmad has jumped into some critical roles with excellence. And I'm looking forward to such a evaluation for Mohmad. Mohmad, please.
Thank you very much, respected General Evaluator, fellow leaders, guests, and especially my target speaker, Sudarshan Seshadri. You deliver a wonderful, innovative, and very educative speech, CCCP, and you make a connection through the networking. So what could I say about your speech? You have the ability to deliver wonderful speeches, and it was marvelous. So I will evaluate your speech in 2 minutes. First, your skills of organizing your speech, then delivery of your speech, and give a little but more practical suggestion to improve. So let me talk about your techniques of your speech. So you first chose 4 words: connection, communication, collaboration, and progress. And then you decided to talk about the importance of these 4 words. And then you started opening of your speech with the anger of a frustrated Toastmaster. And you introduced a mentor who cooled down your anger and explained the importance of these 4 words in your life. You explained 3 C's in the version of your mentor, but you explained the progress, the 4th one, in your own version. That was a little difference, but you try to push it into that boundary. saying that this my mentor explained. So take care of this point. So your delivery was excellent. Your voice modulation was good in the beginning, but in the body of this speech, I was expecting more choreography because you had 3 anecdotes: connection, communication, and collaboration. If I were you and I would deliver this speech, then at the end, I would give a message. Leaders, I learned from many failures that the networking with fellow members through connection, communication, and collaboration leads to progress. Believe in your network. In this way, you could connect your story with your objectives. It was a wonderful story. You are a great storyteller. You are a great speaker and leader. Keep it up. Over to General Evaluator.
Okay, well done, Mohammed, and thank you for everything you've done so far in our club. Next, Vivian Robinson will evaluate the objectives of Aswathy Rajan. And Vivian is a DTM, married, 2 children, 2 grandchildren. Her career path before retirement was involved in human resources, and she concentrated with the federal workers' compensation in the United States. And since retirement, she has continued with her own consulting firm, and she specializes in all things federal. Vivian joined our club recently on February the 1st. Vivian?
Thank you so much, General Evaluator. My assignment this morning is to evaluate the speech of Aswathy. And I'd like to compliment you on your speech title.
Before we go on, just a second. The Vivian we were looking for is Vivian Robinson and not Vivian from Philippines. So Vivian Robinson.
Thank you, Brahm, for connecting.
Hey, there you are.
Okay.
Thank you, Brahm, for connecting.
Thank you so much. For speaker number 3, Aswathy, I want to say that your speech title was very catchy and very involved. I think that as you came onto the platform, your presence is definitely there. You commanded the space that you're in. I love the way you smile. You not only smile from below, but your eyes light up to let us know that yes, this is a sincere smile. I'd like to offer for your consideration that with such a title, a subject that you use, that it gave you an opportunity to use vocal variety. Bloom or bloom. And I think that was an opportunity that you may want to consider. Next of all, I like the way you moved. I like the way you moved in and out, but also I'd like to suggest that maybe a little less sway in, because you were waving a little bit in and out. And as we concentrated for me on what you were saying, I noticed a sway in, and the hand gestures added to what you were saying. They really did add, they didn't take anything away. I think that that was an excellent way to involve us. I'd like to have you think about this as you end your speech. You end by talking about your involvement with Leadership Speaks and what the club has done and all of those good attributes. But I'd like to have you consider, have you thought about issuing us a challenge? How do you bloom where you are? Are you blooming where you are? And I think that would have ended your speech. Otherwise, a very well conducted speech. Everything flowed as it should have. And I really enjoyed it. And I look forward to your next speech. Thank you so much.
Okay, well, thank you very much. Our next evaluator is Manju Manohar, and she'll be evaluating the speech of Raam Lakhanpal. Now, Manju is a DTM. She's a passionate Toastmaster, has been for 9.5 years. She's an award-winning area director, sponsor for 4 clubs across 2 districts. And get this, Manju has helped set up 22 Galvo clubs in a single year. 22 gavel clubs in a single year. She's also a multi-award winning author, coach, who's recently won an award recognition of being in the top 100 coaching leaders. And she received an award at the World HRD Congress this month. Wow. Manju, please.
Thank you so much, Tony, for that wonderful introduction. I must hire you as my publicist. Remind me at the end of the meeting. Okay. So leaders make the impossible possible. Raam, Lakhanpal, I think you had a great story going on. I loved the great title. And of course, the vocabulary. When you started itself, you used a wonderful word starting with B. I think I would like the audience to ponder and probably type in the chat window, what was the word that he used? I'll give you a clue. It has a B for ball, Z as in Z for zebra, and ends with an E. Okay, so now up to you. Do you want the number of letters as well? I think it's a 7-letter word. So try guessing the word, because we are Toastmasters. You can use that time to think and find out. Now, with respect to the story flow, right? It started with, the area contest, that contest getting cancelled, and he's like, oh, contest is not happening, etc. And something that me and Ram alone knows. I would like to bring it to the notice of the world. Do you know what that is? Ram is having some issue, health issue, due to some particular problem which he encountered in the last couple of days, due to which he messaged me, I wouldn't be able to stand up and speak. So I wouldn't hold that against him at all. In my speech evaluation, I'm not going to cover that as an area of improvement. Now let's come to how he can elevate this speech to a greater level. Because we all saw that Ram is a great leader. He's not, as what Texas people would say, all hat and no cattle. Or the rest of the world say, all talk. No, it's all, talk, talk, talk. Okay, no action. He's not like that. He is the opposite of that phrase or opposite of that idiom. He's a person who who takes action, but I would also like him to add some talk, as in vocal variety, because once you have the action mastered, which he has clearly done it, okay, on top of it, if you add a little bit of action, it kind of entertains the audience. Got it? For example, when you say, oh, no contest, how can that be? You don't have to stand up while sitting itself. You can just bring your face closer, just keep your eyebrows closer. No contest, how can that be? Unheard of, something like that. Because that would energize the audience and catch everyone's attention. The second thing I would like to add on is to actually add a bit of smile and maybe a little bit of humor. For example, you had two ladies approaching you, and then they said, you're not doing something ordinary. Okay, at that point of time, you could actually add some humor and say, Ram, you're so handsome. I think my time is over. I get it. So I would like to end this speech with saying that it was a great speech, but we would like to involve you, encourage you by adding more vocal variety, a little bit of smile, eyebrow movement, humor, and also a call for action. Overall, great story, great team, a good action, great leader. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Manju. Next, Nurul Manawara will evaluate the objectives of Hannah Schmidt. Nurul has been a Toastmaster since 2006. She's a passionate Toastmaster, and she served in all 7 club roles many times and in many different clubs. Now, she's a charter vice president of education of the first outstation club in Sri Lanka, and that's the same country that our keynote speakers came from. She has chartered many other outstation clubs in that country. She's also instrumental in chartering as many as 65 clubs when she was club growth director in District 82. And when she was district director, the district achieved Smedley distinguished status. Wow. Noro, please.
Thank you, Tony. Yes, Hannah, what a wonderful speech. Hannah delivered the presentation Mastery Level 3 Project 2 on focus on the positive. And what I impressed was the topic of her selection, robot versus humans. Yes, Hannah, you really opened your speech connecting with our theme today, that the way that opened was great. And you build up your speech connecting how the artificial intelligence work with humans. And the way that you really try to convince, though the human involved in building robots or giving inputs to the artificial intelligence, still you really like the way that how it the robot connects with the humans. I really like the way that you really structured your speech, and I was really inspired by the way that you selected your topic. I think it was like topic of the day for today in the morning. I was a judge in a debate of the Toastmasters Club on the same subject. So, and you finally ended up, though the human give inputs to the robot, still the human always can connect with the robots, and we can in the leadership. But the most thing, what you could have done was, you talked about the positive thing only, but you could have brought at one simple example on a negative side, and you too could have the put a counter argument on, proved that robots and humans can work together and connect together in developing, in bringing the world in top leadership. Thank you, Hannah, for the excellent speech and inspirational speech. Over to you, General.
Excellent. Thank you, Nurul. Sandra Valks will now evaluate the objectives of Mariana Burka. Sandra is the compassionate queen of straight talk. Now, she loves receiving compassionate and constructive feedback for her own improvement. So it's like a two-way street for Sandra, give and take. So she's always looking for suggestions for her own personal growth with compassion. Sandra.
Thank you. And especially you, Mariana, it's an honor to be able to evaluate your speech today. It was amazing. You are a self-proclaimed introvert, and yes, I see that, but you are also an inspirational leader looking after detail. You came out right at the beginning with asking yourself the question, why? 3 times, why? Why would you be there? And it was neat that I got the first one. Well, I was invited. And then secondly, you were curious for the opportunity to learn. And I thought, she's going to forget to give us the third one. So it was nice because you had my interest. I was looking, where's that third one? And you rolled it back in at the end. Beautifully done. Now, the excitement of taking on the role in the global club as being an introvert, and to have that as an excitement. Now, those are 2 words, aren't they? But it was really beautifully done. Now, a couple of suggestions for improvement that I thought was, first off, your line of vision was down, so you were reading, you were down instead of eye contact. But the more important thing, I think, is you tend to contain yourself. Part of the introvert, I'm sure. But when you're out speaking, why not let your passion out? Let it free, because it's bubbling under there, and you're going to inspire us emotionally when you just let it all out. Let that emotion come out. Let your voice celebrate with you. You had, we earned the President Distinguished Club. Can you imagine in 4 months, 6 months, whatever it was, we earned the President Distinguished Club. Let your voice out. That to me is your biggest challenge, because absolutely you are an inspirational leader. You show us excellent, you tend to detail, and you have indeed spent many hours training us in each of our areas. And I really appreciate Mariana. Thank you.
Oh, thank you, Sandra. I've heard the word compassionate and I felt the compassion. So well done, Sandra.
Thank you.
Our seventh evaluator is Aswathy Rajan, who will be evaluating the objectives of Nikhita Winkler. And Aswathy is one of the many, many inspirational members we have in Leadership Speak. And for example, Aswathy has applied herself in ways she's not applied herself before. And she's told us, you know, even recently about some of the major roles that she has participated in Leadership Speak, that she's not done it that way before. And she's applied herself. So she's applied the vision that has been spoken about earlier in this meeting. So Aswathy, please proceed.
Thank you. Thank you, General Evaluator. Today, my speaker, Nikhita Winkler, has achieved her project objectives, where she had to record her negative emotions through her personal experience and how it has been reframed in a positive way. Just to give an example, she connected us with a storytelling where she spoke about my why, where I would now like to evaluate on 4 C's of storytelling. So first C is character. Nikhita have built in her own character, where she spoke about how she was very open to learn public speaking 2 years before. So here we were able to connect with her emotions, her intention to learn from the journey she embarked upon. The chain, where we love listening story with chronology and timeline. She spoke about how she started 2 years back and how she thought of withdrawing from contest a week before she had to, even before she had to give her speech. The third C, which is catch. How did she solve it? She was sour at the start and she didn't enjoy the Toastmaster speeches, but then her mentors came to her and explained her how important are the roles which she needs to take in the entire Toastmaster meeting and how it has impacted. With this, she got an impact in her Toastmaster journey. What she did was, even she had thought that she wanted to withdraw from the contest, she made up her mind because she was not convinced with the purpose or with the connect which she was not able to build in her story, which she realized and she started building it, and that's how she became the winner of the club contest. So all in all, when I'm connecting all the C's, it has come up with a very beautiful story, which showcased the speech objective of learning from the negative and how it has reframed to create a positive impact. Over to you, General Evaluator.
Okay, well, okay, thank you very much. Well done. Okay, Aswathy, thank you. Now, we've completed the 7 evaluations. Very well done, very efficient. Thank you to the evaluators. Okay, I'm going to ask our timer to give her timer report. Marie?
We put the timing to save time. It's in the chat.
Okay, excellent. Now we'll proceed to my comments. And as of right now, we're about 14 minutes behind. We fell 15 minutes behind early in the meeting. And yet, so we've not deteriorated since. We've done a fairly good job keeping on track at that point. I'd like to make a couple of comments about the meeting itself. One, I'm impressed and grateful with the preparation that's gone into this meeting, preparing for this meeting. Before I joined Leadership Speak, I never used WhatsApp, never. But now it's part of my life. I enjoyed seeing all the interactions on the WhatsApp channels, who does what, when, what's expected. So the preparation for this meeting was superb, was very good. Also, I'd like to mention, again, two of the important facilitators in this meeting. Loresh, thank you for opening the meeting on time. Thank you for bringing up that comment about, something that was in the chat that got corrected quickly. So thank you for being diligent, and thank you for being the Zoom master. And again, thank you to our timer for being focused. Your timing was impeccable, Marie, so well done. Now, being short on time, I should say, let's be more precise with time. I'll make a few comments about the vision. Now, we've heard from our three speakers, Brent, Brahm, and Balraj, about the importance of leadership. And one thing that kept on coming up was the word connect. And that also came up in a few speeches, Sudarshan and with Nikhita, connect, connect, connect. And Brent spoke about how with the masterminding, one of the key things was connect, to bring out the leadership in the club. And Brahm talked about how we're not going to simply try, because Brahm hates that word, try, but we're going to demand excellence. So we have pushed for excellence. And the word connect, as Brahm said, and other people have reiterated, connecting with the members because we care about the members. That's very important. Now, to me, personally, from the very beginning, I have seen this club has advanced for two reasons. One, the first reason is our level of excellence is like a rising tide that has lifted all boats. Every single one of us has been lifted by the rising tide of leadership speak throughout the entire members from the entire world, which leads me to my second point. It's personal. I come to the meetings, I see us, I see you, I see we as a club from different parts of the world, many speaking different languages, English being a second language or a third language. And I only speak one language, English. I've tried to learn others. But I look, I listen, and I learn, and I'm inspired by how our members from all over the world, a global club, as Nikhita said, global, how we inspire each other. So it is not just the club, it is we, you, the members, being the rising tide, lifting us up. And I'd like to thank you and those who are not here, for helping to lift me as well. Excellent meeting. Great anniversary. Great first year. Back to you, Toastmaster.
Thank you. Thank you, distinguished Toastmaster Tony Brashear. That was a great evaluation, a general evaluation, and an overview of the meeting and how we've been doing so far. Thank you very much for your encouragement. Thank you for telling us where we stand, what our progress has been. It's very much appreciated. Our audience and our judges as well have been wondering what the final score is. Well, ladies and gentlemen, the people have spoken and the judges have spoken. It's all unanimous. And here it is, ladies and gentlemen. There was a tie for the second and third place. They were all tied together. And that was Nikhita and Sudarshan were tied for the second and third place. So they were tied. And this is by the audience, of course. The tie was by the audience. The judges voted for Nikhita as number 3 and Sudarshan as number 2. The audience put them as a tie. And therefore, ladies and gentlemen, the winner today are you waiting for the winner today?
Oh, yeah.
Aswathy Rajan. Thank you. Well, very well prepared speech about the dandelions and how you brought that story from dandelions to what it means as a leader and and in leadership speak as well. And you tied so many things together. Congratulations. There was actually very narrow between the first and second. There was like almost quite there, but the judges did the final tally, and the judges, of course, said Aswathy, Sudarshan, and then Nikhita. So thank you very much, everyone. I would like to thank the judges that came from all over the world. They didn't know any of the speakers, or at least I think they didn't know who the speakers were. So it was fair and square. It was done all electronically as well. So it was very quick. Rather than people going to the breakout rooms and counting and all that, we did it electronically, everything, and it was quick. Thank you very much, everyone. It has been a great, wonderful anniversary meeting. We acknowledged our successes, where we can learn more. Thank you all for the guests who came. There were some distinguished guests who actually joined us as well. Past District Director Jennifer was here from District 41, I believe. Now it's District 120. They've been splitting the district so fast, I can't remember. But Jennifer Ghosh was here as well, that I noticed, and many other distinguished guests. Thank you, Sharon Jenkins, who is also a member of our club and a charter member who invited, she said 40 people, and there were like so many Sharon Jenkins in the room because she just sent them her link. So, but they did rename themselves. We had more than 80 people, unique visitors to the meeting. The final count will be when we go into the reports and find out how many people did attend this meeting. We didn't know whether it'd be over 100 or less than 100. So we put it out into Facebook as well, and it's recording on Facebook. Hannah, you were right. It was almost 70 members. Brent, thank you so much for being my co-founder. I look forward to continued partnership in the future. And I would hope that what you spoke about today, you'll speak more often about that in the club as well. I know you have a very busy schedule. You are doing your business and spending most of your time trying to generate new business. So your attention is over there, but I hope you will come in the club and speak more about what you spoke about today, because it inspires me. I need some inspiration from somebody like you as well, besides of course our members. Thank you, Tony. Thank you all our charter members who are still members with the club. With that, I will now conclude our first anniversary celebration. With that, this meeting is adjourned. Thank you very much. I will ask the visitors to remain behind. I would love to speak to you as to who you are, where you come from. I know a lot of you, I've invited myself personally. This meeting is adjourned, and I'll now talk to the visitors. And stand at ease now. You can all talk if you wish. You can ask me questions. You can ask questions of anybody else in the meeting. Thank you.
Can I stop the recording now?
Stop the recording.